In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most ancient and honestly toughest trees on the entire planet, the date palm. You know, for thousands of years, this absolute icon of the desert has been a source of life and a symbol of prosperity for entire civilizations. So let's dive in and find out why. Get this. What if I told you that a single tree could not only survive, but actually thrive in the harshest desert climates and keep producing fruit for over 100 years? I mean, that's not science fiction. That's the incredible reality of the date palm. Alright, so here's what we've got lined up. We're going to start with its story as an ancient survivor. Then, we'll get into how it manages to grow in the desert. We'll also talk about why it's called a tree of life, look at the enemies it's up against, and wrap up with some seriously surprising facts. Okay, first up, an ancient survivor, the tree of the desert. So let's get right to it. What makes this incredible plant so perfectly built for its home? So the date palm is a true giant of the desert, no question about it. It can shoot up to 30 meters high. That's tall. And its crown of leaves, which are called fronds, can span from 6 to 10 meters wide. The leaves themselves can be up to 6 meters long, and get this, at the base of those leaves, you got these super sharp spines, a pretty smart natural defense to keep hungry desert animals away. Alright, moving on to section 2, growing in the desert, from seed to fruit. So how in the world does this tree go from a tiny seed to producing all that fruit? Let's check out its journey and the very specific things it needs to really thrive. You know, the date palm story begins in the fertile lands around Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. But it didn't stay there. It's a real-world traveler. Thanks to ancient traders and, of course, modern farming, you can now find it in hot, dry climates all over the place, from North Africa and the Americas all the way to Australia. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. There's an old saying about the date palm. It needs its feet in the water and its head in the fire. And that's the perfect way to describe it. It loves deep, sandy soil, and it actually thrives in alkaline conditions, which is pretty unusual. It absolutely needs those long, hot summers with no rain when the fruit is ripening. But here's the twist. Even though it's drought tolerant, it needs a ton of water at its roots to grow well and give us the best fruit. It's that combo, crazy heat up top and lots of water down below. That's the real secret. So how do you get more dates? Well, in the wild, it's kind of left up to chance. The wind does the pollinating, which means you need about the same number of male and female trees. But humans figured out a better way thousands of years ago. On commercial farms, it's all done by hand. This is a total game changer, because it means one single male tree can pollinate up to 100 female trees. It's way more efficient and means a much bigger harvest. The life of the date is actually a 4-step journey. It starts out as this hard, green little thing called Gandhara. Then it grows to full size, gets crunchy, and turns yellow or red. That's the doka stage. And believe it or not, lots of people love eating them right then. After that, in the dang stage, the tip starts to get soft and sweet. But the grand finale is the pinned or tamer stage. That's when it's fully ripe, super soft, and packed with all that sugary goodness we know and love. Okay, next section, a tree of life, a gift to civilizations. And this tree has definitely earned that title. It's so much more than just a plant, it's been a gift to entire civilizations. Let's find out why. Now, when you think of dates, you might just have one type in mind, but there's a whole world out there. They're not all the same. You've got your soft types, like the super famous and delicious medjool. Then there are semi-dry ones, like Diglet Nor, which are a bit firmer. And of course, there are dry dates too. Each one has its own unique taste and texture. Just take a look at these nutrition facts for a second. This is exactly why dates have been a key survival food for literally thousands of years. They are an absolute powerhouse of energy, just jam-packed with natural sugars and carbs. Imagine you're a desert traveler. This is the perfect long-lasting snack to keep you going. And on top of that, you're getting a great hit of dietary fiber and important minerals like potassium and magnesium. The importance of the date palm goes way beyond just food. It's deeply woven into the cultural and religious fabric of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This quote right here from the Quran is just beautiful. It shows the tree as a source of divine help and nourishment, and that's a theme you see again and again in so many ancient traditions. Alright, section 4, enemies at the gates. Threats to the palm. Now, you might think a tree this tough is invincible, right? Well, not quite. It has some very serious enemies. And the biggest, baddest enemy of them all is something called biodisease. This is a devastating fungal disease that lives in the soil. It has wiped out over 15 million palm trees in North Africa, just gone. And that includes some of the most valuable and prized types of date palms. And the scariest part? To this day, there is no known cure. And if the disease wasn't enough, there's a whole rogues gallery of pests that love to attack the date palm. You've got the red palm weevil, which is nasty. It literally tunnels into the trunk and kills the tree from the inside. Then there are others, like the rhinoceros beetle, white scale, mites. They all go after the leaves and the fruit, and they can absolutely devastate a harvest. Okay, for our final section, let's get into some surprising date facts. This is where you'll see it's so much more than just a tree. Okay, prepare to have your mind blown. 50 million years. That is not a typo. 50 million. Fossil records show that the date palm existed that long ago. I mean, they were around long before humans even showed up. They've been a silent witness to pretty much our entire history. So that begs the question, right? How do you figure out how old a date palm is? With most trees, you just count the rings. Simple. But you can't do that here. Why? Because a date palm isn't technically a tree in the same way an oak is. It's a monocot, which means it's actually more closely related to grass. And because of that, it doesn't produce any of those annual growth rings. So its true age, well, that remains one of its best kept secrets. This journey through time really puts it all into perspective. I mean, think about it. We start 50 million years ago with fossils. Then, around 7000 BCE, we see the first cultivation in Mesopotamia. And then, and this is my favorite part, just a couple thousand years ago, a seed from that time, nicknamed Methuselah, was actually sprouted and grown. It's incredible